Yeah.
Alright guys, welcome back to another super in-depth tutorial. I really like doing these tutorials for you guys, breaking them down, getting in depth on how I edit things, how I edit certain projects, the effects I use, the sound, where I get these effects, how I do the specific edits and everything. I'm always getting tons of questions onto, how I do certain things, where do I get the sounds, where do I get the effects. And this particular tour trailer that I did for Kyle, as you can see, is pretty in depth on the edits and the chops, and gave it a very cool old school look. And I just got a lot of response to the editing and what editing was done to this project to make it look the way it was or did. And so I'm gonna kind of break it down, and I think you guys will find some really interesting stuff about this. So first off, right off the bat, I wanted to have this kind of older, almost video game, retro style, vintage, older TV sound effects to kind of go along with Kyle's original tour videos, but also fit kind of that space theme. So first off, I found the music simply on YouTube. Just ripped the music off YouTube. It's just kind of this pretty simple music, but right away I started off with this arcade click, and where I got these sound effects that I use all throughout the video here. You'll see here, right here, mechanicals, the interface boom. These are all sound effects from Boom Library, and they are by far the most professional, high quality sound effects you can find. Right here you can hear that. So they have some really cool sound effects, and this happened to be the interface pack. So there's a lot of like arcade sounds, clicks, video game stuff. So I started it off right here with that sound effect. And then what I have going on here is actually a VHS analog flare from Tropic Color. If you can see the actual clip here, it's just kind of this flare that I ended up tweaking a bunch to give it this retro kind of choppy feel. First thing I did, if I go to the clip and go to the effects tab, I put on this effect called the Hollow Matrix, and this is an effect, or a plugin I should say, that I got from Red Giant Software, but simply applied that and select. So there it is. You can see I changed the adjustment layer, or the opacity layer. So normal, there's the actual clip. Then I came into normal and I screened it so that the flare would overlay on this footage of Kyle on tour. And then to add that extra bit of flavor to it, I added that, basically that, the Uni Hollow Matrix preset, which kind of like trips it out. So then that flashes over along with a anamorphic flare, light leak that I got from Tropic Color, same thing. I have the opacity layer set to screen, and I boosted the levels just a bit so it stood out. And so you can see those two flares right there playing off each other with the sound effect, and then boom, into the clip, and the music starts to fade in. So that's where you get into details with your editing, is overlaying clips to give you the emotion that and the mood and that you're trying to set, and the tone. On top of all this footage coming up right here too, I have a VHS bad tracking overlay. Same thing. This is like this. You can see right here. It's just kind of this VHS tracking layer. Again, Tropic Color, and the VHS effects that they have. But I'm gonna take that. Same thing, I'm going to come in, you're always going to play with the opacity layer. So I came into here and I'm changing this opacity layer. I changed it to lighten so that only the light parts of this frame or this clip will show up. So you can see, since I lightened it, you can see this here, and then you can see that reflected there. So only the light parts of that footage is going to show up. So you kind of get these little specks all throughout the clip, giving it this kind of distorted, older VHS feel. Same thing, sound effect from Boom Library with that little flare. This is a VHS analog flare, same one, but I flipped it and I colored it pink and gave it that same distorted look to go along with the text. And it goes right into a pink clip with the sound effect. And these underlying sound effects past just the actual quick sounds, like this, I have like drones and escalating whooshes that I also got from Boom Library, but they're cinematic trailer design packs. So cinematic trailer design from Boom Library. They have a bunch of really cool cinematic trailer risers, hits, booms, crashes. So good for trailers such as this, or dramatic scenes, openings, sound effects, everything, all the sound effects here below Boom Library. Again, with these clips, pretty much throughout the whole project, I kind of have this distorted VHS look to it. So with this clip, same thing. I selected the holomatrix in the media browser here. If I go to the effects and I go to holomatrix, so you can see RG Universe Stylize, holomatrix, drag that on, and when you use that preset, you can select from a bunch of different types of presets that they have, like so many different types of distortions and colors. You can really get super creative. Night vision, predator, so many different things. I think I happen to choose either great color or one of these other ones, but just to kind of give it those lines through the image, give it a slight distortion, older little feel. Again, another flare. So when this clip speeds up, I have that sound effect coming in, a little boom, whoosh. So that happens right when this clip speeds up and it transitions into the next clip. Again, sound effects from Boom Library. Coming down here, you can see how deep the audio layers are. Here's these little sound effects. And you use the sound effects right when you use the overlying clips or layers. Good little transition. And so this is where I want to get into something here that I haven't really talked about and discussed before. And it's called Giffy. There's a website called Giffy, and I use this a lot when you're looking for like really cool textures or editing effects. You can do some really cool stuff with it. So there's this website. It's called Giffy, and here you can pull any GIF that you want and really work it into an edit, and it's always going to give you a slightly more distorted, kind of funky look or effect because they're low-res GIFs, but you can easily work them in. And one of the main GIFs in this video, but this background right here is a GIF that's moving like this that I tweaked a little bit, and I'll show you that. But one of the other main ones is this moon over Kyle. This is a GIF of a moon changing colors, and then I overlaid it with a blend mode on his music video to the moon, put it with the sound, and it gives a cool effect. But right before that is this other GIF that I got from Giffy of this like kind of like light, basically saber kind of feel going on where it's like spreading into another dimension. Same thing, change the opacity layer to hard light, and then I fade it in with 2 keyframes on the opacity, and then I throw it with this kind of booming sound effect and a riser, and it gives this crazy so all that right there are 2 overlaying GIFs that I pulled from Giffy, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then just messing with the opacity layers and choosing the right blend modes. Again, there's also a little flare in here from Tropic Color. So there's the GIF. And then I believe this is the light effect from Tropic Color here. Yeah, so you can see the flare here. Just overlaid that on the moon clip to give it that extra little bit of flair and flavor. And again, blend mode is probably either screen or lighten, but I'm gonna bet it's screen. Effect controls, yep, screen. Screen is like my go-to opacity layer to layer anything kind of light effect wise. And yeah, that's how I got that effect. But we'll come back to this over here. Again, so Giffy, I wanted kind of this kind of trippy background. And what I ended up finding on Giffy was this kind of like moon. This moon sun kind of thing that like was like cycling through these rotations, and I thought that was perfect because the song that's in this and the whole thing's like to the moon and outer space, so I thought this was a good backdrop. But I wanted it just was too small, and I wanted something a little more backgroundy for this title of Marky Basie and Toby Lou. So what I did is I just blew it up super big. You can see it's at like 750%. If I were to take that all the way down to its original size, you can see there's the GIF that I grabbed and dragged into the timeline. Well, all I did is I took that and scaled it up to 7. We'll go back to like 750. I was just under 750. But now I have this kind of moving background, and all I did is simply take that GIF and I just copied and pasted it. And then I copied and pasted it. And so that GIF is going to keep replaying. And now I get this cool just background that's repeating over and over. And then on top of that, I threw my graphic. This is the title, Marky Basie. And again, wanted a slightly kind of distorted vintage feel with everything. So on the graphic, I threw on a little Gaussian blur, which I usually like to throw a Gaussian blur on all my text. Otherwise, the text is always a little it's too sharp. So here it's just very subtle. It's a 3. Sometimes I go all the way to 15. I just feel like it adds a nice little softness to your text where it doesn't feel too harsh and sharp. I feel like a lot of people don't do this or realize to do this. And if you actually look in a lot of movies and stuff, the titling will sometimes not be as sharp. And so you'll see, or you don't really see it, but behind the scenes, they're really probably throwing on a slight bit of blur just to soften it ever so slightly. But same thing, instead of throwing it on the clip, this time I threw the holographics preset onto the titling. So it gave it kind of, you can see the lines through the titling, and it kind of, if you're watching the video, it actually like distorts as it's going, and it kind of flashes, and the name will trip out a little bit. And so I wanted everything to kind of have that trippy, vintage, vibey feel. So I added that to the text as well. And underlaying that, I have this kind of sound. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but basically it's a bad tracking sound, like a VHS kind of gurgling or skipping. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's all in the details. Subtle details like that really do matter. So I have this text title, it's kind of tripping out, glitching slightly, got this vintage kind of blurry, colorful background moving, and so you want to enhance that with any sounds possible. And so this little bad VHS tracking sound is just subtly laying there in the background, along with this exhale blurs, and you get these kind of whooshes. As you can see, how many layers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 layers. Again, one of these are music, but you have 8 layers going on here as far as audio purposes go. And then let's move on down to the transition. So again, I pretty much used that sound throughout the whole thing to signal a transition between scenes. You can see the glitch out right there. Right as it glitches, I throw in the sound. And then I have two of, again, going back to the VHS analog flares, I simply duplicated them. So there's two of them right here, if I zoom in. And then I flipped this one, so you can see it here. And then all I did was simply come to a flip, and I vertically flipped the other one so that they kind of mirrored each other. And again, I colored them. We'll come up in here. So I threw on a tint. A tint is how you can kind of change colors of certain images, backdrops, or whatever. And so I threw on a tint. I left the map black to black. If you want to really change the color, you're going to always leave the top one black, and then you're going to map white to whatever color you want it to be. So if I wanted this VHS color to be freaking lime green, if I switch that, it's going to turn to lime green. So then I changed the tint, again, added the hollow matrix, and gave it this with the sound effect, this little transition. From there, and again, with all like the Tropicolor effects and stuff, they're all QuickTimes. Like, this is just a QuickTime file right here. You can see the VHS analog, what it does. That's the clip. And that's a QuickTime that you can use in any editing software. You just lay it in, and then you change and mess with it. Like, this right here looks nothing like this. But it's all about taking effects and utilizing them to fit your projects, and tweaking them and adjusting them to make sense for your edits and your effects. This could have worked with this project, but I took it a step further, and I distorted it, I colored it, I sped it up to fit the edit that I needed. So now we're gonna come over to here, same thing here. I just duplicated it again. You can see these two, I just dragged them over here. Sound effect with a whoosh. So not only do we have the whoosh, but we have the little arcade sound. And then here comes another GIF. Oh, I didn't even show you guys. Let me show you guys how to pull it down real quick. So if you were to come up to the GIFs, and you wanted to search, so right here I knew that this clip spun right here, and so I wanted to do something cool, almost like it was time warping. So I thought of the idea of like, okay, let's try like shooting stars or galaxy. Let's see if it pulls it up. Yeah, the more you know. No, we'll try galaxy. So I was looking for a clip that kind of had some movement to it, like stars shooting. This is pulling up the wrong kind of stuff, not what I'm looking for. But basically, these are all GIFs that I found for the project. I didn't use all of them, but I found them all off Giffy, and then I dragged them into a folder. And you can see they're all just these simple little GIFs. Some of them are lights. This one's a car headlight. This one's a world. This one's like kind of this trippy funnel thing. This one got some hearts, got a tube, got some trippy colors. And they're simply just, oh, here's that one that I used. So you can see there's the raw GIF, and there's that transition I used on Kyle. You'll see in a little bit. Warning, warning. So you can see how you could really use these and do some cool stuff. So if, like, even on this right here, if I wanted to drag in this GIF over this Kyle clip, how can I make this work on this? I'm gonna take this. Obviously it's too small, I see the edges. So I'm gonna blow it up till it fits the screen. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna lighten it. So now it kind of blends in. If I don't wanna lighten it, I could screen it. And this is where you can play around. Like, you could do screen, see how that looks. Linear color dodge, see how that looks. We're gonna try linear light. You can just play with all of these and you can see the different effects it has. That's actually kind of cool even. But we'll screen it, and then we'll have it get all bright right about there. So we'll fade it in. I'm gonna do a keyframe. So as the clip spins, it'll fade in, get to a bright point, and then I'll have it fade out. And so we'll leave another keyframe right there and have it fade out. So now, like, as the clip spins, fades in and out. So again, super really cool thing you can do is mess with those GIFs. So if you want one, all you have to do is just, like, if I wanted this clip right here, I click on it and I'm literally from the website right here, I'm just gonna drag it. I'm just gonna drag it to a folder. So if I wanna come here and go create a folder, and we're gonna do, oops, spelled that wrong, do Giffy. I'm literally just gonna take this, I'm gonna drag it right into there. Boom, GIF, now there, got my GIF, drag it, import it into the project file, and these are all GIFs that I pulled offline. Here's another really cool one with this car. I didn't utilize it in this one, but I definitely was thinking about it. But another really cool way you could utilize this, there's so many different ways you could utilize these GIFs. Even this one's super cool. This tape, see you soon, all this skeleton stuff, super. I actually did a really cool thing with this super because of Super Duper. You know, Kyle goes by Super Duper, so I had this really cool title thing, and it came in and it said Super, and then it came in Duper Kyle or Super Duper Presents. They actually told me to take it down. They didn't like it. Let me see if I have it over here, actually. No, I think I might have got... Oh, is this it? No. Yeah, I don't know where it's at, but I had a really cool design with it. Didn't end up making the cut, but yeah, so you drag the GIF into your project, and from there it's simple. You just drag it in and work with it. So I drag in the GIF from right here. We're gonna take this, I'm gonna blow it up, I'm gonna linear dodge it, I'm gonna add a brightening effect to it so it gets all bright all of a sudden. So we'll take levels and we'll set a keyframe to get all bright, and then we'll have a keyframe out. And then we'll cut it back so it disappears. I mean, that's pretty cool right there, actually. So Giffy is a really cool place to find really cool effects that you can work into your project. Like, even that looks cool. If I were to fade that in and fade it out right there, super duper, coming in hot. So yeah, Giffy, it's kind of like a hidden secret. I've never talked about it before. This is the first video I've ever talked about it. So kind of crucial little secret that I utilize to enhance certain visuals, get cool effects. Because like this effect with this moon and with this light ray, those are just GIFs that I tweaked and made work in the edit. That's not like footage that was shot like that. Just pulled that off Giffy for free. Same thing with this galaxy. So as the clip turns, I had this galaxy GIF. You can see it right here. It just kind of is like the zooming rocks, and it just zooms and fades in. I set a keyframe so that if I come here to the effects control, I've set a keyframe so all of a sudden it comes into play as he zooms. So look, all of a sudden now it looks like as the clip is zooming, he's hitting light speed. You know what I mean? So boom, light speed, galaxy, and then when it cuts to the next clip, it's gone. With the sound effect, that little effect of the fading in while the clip's turning, going to hyperspeed, those are all the little details that matter, and it's super easy. It's just one clip and a GIF that I just made work with the timing of the clip and the sounds, and that's what takes your projects there. That's what makes them real dope. It's those little attentions to detail. So from right here, I have a boom sound cut out from, again, cinematic boom library. Boom. Then I have To the Moon fade in as the clip from the music video To the Moon fades in. Then right here, I have this whoosh sound effect as the doors open. Again, adding to the piece. The doors open, so I was like, oh, this needs a whoosh sound right before the drop. So it whooshes, and then bam, drop, go into the audio, Again, you can see a little flare. There's my flare, overlaying that again to give a little bit of extra texture and flavor to the project. And same thing right here. So when this clip comes up and kind of glitches out, I made it glitch out. I also threw a flare right before the glitch out. And then I threw this GIF from Giffy over it, which is literally just this like glitched out play SP block. You can see it just kind of glitches out, and I just simply blew it up so it fit the size, because if I were to take it all the way down, that's the size that it was. So I just blew it up and made it fit within right there. I chose opacity layer screen so that it would overlay on his clip as the clip glitches. And then the key to that, to really making it pop, is the sound. So adding that sound right with the glitch, the overlay of the GIF, the VHS anamorphic distorted flare from Tropicolor, and you just get these really dope effects. Same thing here, goes to hyperspeed, the clip turns. I did the same thing, the stars come in as the clip turns, or the galaxy, asteroids, whatever. And then with that, I have a really cool whoosh sound effect. That. And again, that's from Boom Library. And with that, I also had the whoosh sound, which I believe is right here. A boom, boom, this, and then wherever that whoosh is, I think it's right here. Yeah, right here. So that, yeah, I was on it. Right there with the boom. You can see, and then go right into a light effect from Tropicolor. And then the anamorphic flare, or analog flare, VHS, with the light effects right here, this purple one from Tropicolor as well. You can see the purple flare here from Tropicolor on screen mode. You can see the VHS one here, sound effect over the clip, right after this trippy thing of the clip turning and the GIF, light flare, boosting up, boom, boom. So it's all just small little details. You can see, look, VHS flare, light effect, light effect, light effect, VHS flare, light effect. All these, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clips right here are all light overlays from Tropicolor. Light effects, VHS analog flares, that's all that was used in this, was a light effects pack from Tropicolor and a VHS textures effect pack from Tropicolor, overlaid to add extra texture. I take all of that stuff away, all of that, and then I'm left with just a slightly generic edit. See, here comes some more light effects. So if I take those away too, see how much extra flair that adds, no pun intended. It just takes things to the next level. So I get rid of that too, and then this whole sequence is pretty dead. I mean, it's still cool. It still works and makes sense, but those flares, those extra effects that I'm overlaying and using the blend modes and changing the colors of really take it there. So I mean, it still works, but in all reality, these extra flares are what take it to that next level. And then just when you're cutting clips together, picking clips that cut really well together. Like, I know going from this clip where Kyle's here and we see the crowd, so I'm gonna flash it and cut to the next clip where we're like in the crowd. Different stadium or arena or wherever he was at, a venue, but the shots cut well together. And then I just use a flash to hide the cut. So I'm using the flash and the light leaks and whatnot to hide the cut. And then it's a very smooth transition. And then again, going from knowing like, okay, this is dark, it's kind of got a blue tint, crowd, and now we're gonna go to a similar cut right there. boom, Kyle on stage, coming through, flash. Then again, now right over here, we have this clip, again, the GIF that I was talking about, the light beam with Kyle. I just blew it up. You can see here's the original size, blew it up to fit the framing. And then all I did was change it to hard light. This is where you want to play, again, play with these. Figure out each one's going to have a different effect. You know what I mean? So you got to really play with it. I found that hard light gave me the good look that I was going for on the blends. Because see, if I chose, say, screen instead of hard light, watch the difference between those. So it's all about just playing with it. Find the one that you want that works for you. Color burn, that's cool. It's all about the look you're going for, and nothing's right or wrong. Nothing's right or wrong. It's just what's the look you're going for. In this case, I like to happen to pick hard light. I picked hard light, and then I had it go from 0%, made a keyframe to 100% within a few frames, so it just pops up, and then boom, flash to the next clip, to the moon, when he sang the lyrics to the moon from his music video. And what did I do? I put a moon in that. That moon's not there, you know what I mean? That moon is not in the music video clip. I delete that layer, and then you have just him saying to the moon. Sorry it's not playing well. The computer is running kind of slow right now. We're going to try and get this working here. There you go. So, sang to the moon, it's from his music video clip. I timed it up, got the music video clip for the song, added the moon over this with the light flare from Tropicolor. Boom. Gave it a little bit of a shake too. I added a shake effect because the clip behind him, like the actual music video clip, is shaking as well. And then we come into this clip, timing wise, here it goes back to thinking. In the song, he says, he kind of has this whoosh sound that he makes with his mouth, like he's taking off. And so I found a clip where it's like he's jumping and taking off. That's what you need to think about when you're editing. That is the type of stuff. So he makes this sound with the music, like he's taking off. So I found a clip where he's jumping and it's like he's taking off, and I used that over that part of the song. And then when the beat hits, or the bass, right there, I have the clip slow down. Right there, boom, slow down. Boom, with a whoosh, and I speed it up. So he makes the sound with his mouth, speed it up, the beat hits, slow it down. Then I bring in a whoosh sound and speed up the clip. And then all the while I have this anamorphic flare going crazy. Or I keep saying anamorphic. Analog flare going crazy. Again, just layered it over, colored it over these clips. And I have a distortion on it. You can kind of see it's kind of distorted and it glitches out. Again, wanted it very glitchy. If I were to take that glitch effect off, it would look like this. That was the clip. Does that fit the tone and vibe of my project, of this tour trailer? No, it does not. So I trip it out and give it this distorted, spacey, otherworld feel, and it works. Again, I take that stuff off, and that's the clip. That's the raw footage. Or not raw footage, but you know what I mean. That's the actual footage. How much better does this fit the tone of the project? He's glitching out. It's dark, it's crunchy, it's spacey, it feels... That's what fits the mood. And so you gotta, when you're editing your projects and you're doing the color and you're doing the effects, what are the effects, the color, and the tone that are going to match the mood you're trying to have your audience feel with your project? That's so important. I talk about it a lot when coloring, like how important color is to, it's not just color, like color sets a mood for your piece, it sets a tone. It's supposed to enhance the story you're trying to tell. So the story I'm trying to tell here needed these effects. It wouldn't work with this. And again, this is Holomatrix effect from Magic Bullet, their universe pack. It's just a presets that you can do in Premiere or Final Cut as well. But this is their universe pack. Levels is just an effect here in Premiere, which I use to color and change a lot. It just darkens, brightens things, whatever you want. So here's levels off. Here's the levels on. Just gives it a much crunchier vibe that I was going for. A lot more contrasty than that kind of flat original look. Then moving on here to the final part here. Again, this glitch, we have this clip, the holomatrix effect on it. If I were to take it off, there it is, normal, right there. Crunched it down and then threw on the holomatrix, boom. Gives it that feel. And then right here, we have the big bass drop. We have the sound, little glitch sound, bass drop, and then the title. And then on top of that, the very first thing, when it glitches and we have that sound, we have light effects. Let's see here, click on that. Light effects number 44 from Tropicolor, just a slight glow. And then we have the flare, the anamorphic flare from Tropicolor right here. Light effects pack, or no, this is light effects. Is this one light effects? Yeah, this is a light effects pack as well. This is an anamorphic flare. So light effects pack, boom, layer it right over the title, on the sound, kind of fades in and out. The other light effects, you can see it kind of subtly in the background, illuminating the background. Music fades out. Title zooms in, and glitch. Same thing here. We have the bad VHS tracking overlay on all this stuff that I used earlier. This kind of tracking overlay, I just laid it over both titles. So we kind of get this VHS tracky look, glitchy, the universe holomatrix over both these text titles with the VHS tracking layer, the color, and the sound. Again, I have that gurgly sound in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like this bad VHS tracking sound. Lay that in the background. And then that's it. Then it glitches out right at the end. Lastly, the last thing I did from also is from Tropicolor. I used one of the aspect ratio mats and I put on HD 235. So that's a 235 aspect ratio. There's the footage without the aspect ratio. And if I put that back on, so I had an aspect ratio throughout the whole thing. They wanted it to feel like cinematic, like a movie. And typically films are shot in a wider aspect ratio like 235, and so I threw this on to kind of simulate that like widescreen cinematic effect, even though it was shot full screen, full frame, all the footage and everything. But that is one of the aspect ratio mats from Tropicolor as well, and there's hundreds of those for all different types of HD, 8K, 7K, 6K, 5K, 4K, 1080, the aspect ratio of 239, 185, all that stuff you can get. But yeah, just simply threw that over top, the aspect ratio, stretched it out over the whole entire project, and that's really it. So highlight, key things to take away: Boom library for all your sounds, super, super good. They're expensive, but they are really, really good. Tropicolor effects, assets, light leaks, light hits, flares to really spice up your project, using the correct blend modes, changing the opacities, stylizing those effects to fit your look and tone, using the right effects again to enhance your tone, such as that glitchy holomatrix look to give it that space feel, the VHS vintage vibes, and then Giffy, which is a huge thing, is utilizing Giffy to find all the different types of things you need. You know what I mean? Like if you need a dancing skeleton, I'm sure they have it. Let's see what we got here. I'm just getting a bunch of stuff. Let's just do. Did I spell skeleton wrong? I did. So if we just type in skeleton, it'll pull up all these crazy GIFs, and it goes on and on, like all these pages, like crazy. So again, look at this. Like, you know what? How many cool different things you could do with this skeleton, just like this GIF. You drag the GIF onto your desktop or your hard drive, pull it into your project file, and start tripping these things out, adding text over it, effects, throwing trippy colors in the background. There's so many ways you can utilize Giffy and GIFs to enhance your videos, and this is like no one really talks about this. I haven't really seen anyone talk about this, but this is like definitely a big secret of mine. So you guys are welcome for that one, and go do some cool stuff with that. All right, guys, that really wraps up the tutorial. Hopefully this was informative and you guys learned something from it. It was very, very helpful in some manner. I had a lot of fun editing and piecing this together and seeing everyone's feedback on it, just saying like how crazy the edit was. So now you got to see my edit in full. You got to see me break it down, talk about it, show you step by step exactly what I used, how I used it, how I did it. So no secrets with me. Putting everything out there so that you guys can learn and grow from it. So appreciate you guys for watching. I'm Jacob Owens for the Buff Nerds, and I'm out.